Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Andrew Weitzman. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Keymark Financial. Keymark, of course, is the Medallion Program Administrator for Stamp and, of course, now for UStamp, which is fully approved and in production now that we are past 10.1. And I'm joined here by our friends at Hampton Technologies.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us and appreciate your participation in the pilot program. And this is really just a recap for all of you to ask us questions, to run through the product and stop us and, drop anything you'd like in the Q&A and we'll try and answer it on the fly. And I have with us Mario, our chief architect, and he's gonna run through what most of you already know. I think the first question while Mario gets his demo keyed up is, does anybody have any questions with regards to the installation of the app, or has anybody on the call have issues and need assistance or support with that?
Yeah. And while people are typing that in, I'll just add that, this is meant to be a training session for the Guarantor side, the side of fixing the digital medallion to the digital document. So we're going to show how to download the app, how to use the app to add that digital medallion, and of course, importantly, send documents electronically to transfer agents. We're also going to cover that administrator web hub that allows your designated admin manage the user and medallion inventory. And, just a reminder that these are valid medallions. Again, we are in a program here that has been endorsed by the STA as the fourth Medallion Signature Guarantee Program. And that because of that, and because these are valid medallions, counterparties don't need to use the UStamp app to verify the digital medallions on the digital documents they receive. They can do so through Adobe, and we will touch on that briefly, even though this is a session, again, intended more for downloading the app, using the web hub on the Guarantor side.
Okay. Mario, do you want me to just show? I'm going to share my screen first, and we can talk about the installation.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the installation link for Universal Stamp in the Microsoft Store. Many of you won't be able or may not be able to, because of certain restrictions on your firm that your firm has, be able to download from the store. So the alternative method is in your Universal Stamp web hub. You have a download link. Mario, it's to an installation package, correct?
That is correct. It's a Microsoft MSIX package, so that's the latest and greatest by Microsoft, and it can be downloaded from this website and installed without using the Microsoft Store. So your IT team probably knows about these packages and how to do it.
So
at the very top,
in your at the very top.
Yeah, when you click when the pop-up opens.
Right. So this is where there are two places in your web hub. It's down on the bottom left. It says download, and then we have it here. Either way, it's going to display this. It'll give you the release notes for each new version. 2.3 was recently released. You simply click download, or you can download it, and then you can send this to your IT department, or you can let them download it, whatever you like. But that's the two methods of installation. And as I said earlier, if anybody has any issues, please let us know. And I think that's it. Any questions on installation, Andrew?
It was just the one, and I think we touched on that, but
Okay, good.
feel free again to keep the questions coming as they come up.
All right, great. Mario, I'll turn it over to you to go through the Guarantor end of things. And
Sure. It might be worth mentioning before we do that, that we recently introduced a user role called IT admin. So if anyone in your IT team wants access to that web hub, there's a way for us to set up an IT user that's free of charge. That would simply allow IT admin people to get into the web hub and download the MSIX. They wouldn't be able to place a stamp or look at documents or anything like that. Okay, just in case that's a valid use case for your organization. All right. Then let me go ahead and share my screen really quick. And you should be seeing the Universal Stamp app now. Ron, can you confirm?
yes.
Okay, great. So this is the Universal Stamp Windows app, or app for Windows. It's a Microsoft.NET program that runs on your local computer, and once it's installed, you will have to log in, of course. If you don't, there's not much you can do. You can go to our website or look at help documents, all great stuff. However, if you want to get down to business, you need to log in. So what we want to do here is we log in as a demo Guarantor user that we have created. So I should mention, I'm going to be using the method to log in with username and password. There is an alternative that we created. You can also set up your organization to log in with Microsoft in case your team is using Microsoft Azure AD, or Entra it's called now. So we can set you up that you use your Entra ID to sign in as a single sign-on option. However, for this demo, I'm just using username password. And typically for guarantors, there would be a two-factor authentication. I just turned it off for this demo, where a 6-digit PIN code is sent to your corporate email, and you would have to enter that in addition. I'm sure you've seen this before in a lot of cases. Anyways, so once we're logged in, I can see my name up here and what organization I'm with, and also the last login. That's something new that was requested in the pilot, just for security reasons, that if somebody might use it unauthorized, the user might just see, hey, I didn't do this login, who was that? So that's a little nice gimmick here. Anyways, now that I'm logged in, I have the option here to stamp a document. That's the most important button in this whole application. When I click that, I can select a file from my computer or a network drive or anything. So for example, I'm going to use this stock bond power here. And when I open that, I can view the document, I can scroll through it, I can flip through the pages. Well, not this one, it has only one. Just like you would in any PDF viewer like Adobe or Nitro, or whatever is out there. So this will allow me to place a stamp. But before I do that, I would like to show two quick things, just because applying a stamp is always the final step in this process. Because once the stamp is applied, you cannot change the document anymore without it being rendered as a tempered or invalid document. Because the stamp really, think of it as a kind of an envelope that really closes down and seals this document. So I want to show you two things that can be done before we place the stamps and that have to be done before we place the stamps, this, if we want to do it. One of the things that was requested in the pilot was we can add a transaction value. And I'm just going to put maybe $1 million for this transaction. This is only a note. It's going to show up in the audit trail. We will see this later. So it's not checking if the stamps that we apply are even good for this transaction value. That's really just to inform the recipient, this is what we anticipate, this is the transaction value, okay? So that's a thing. The other thing is adding attachments. If there's, I don't know, any supporting documentation that should go with this document, that's what we can do using the attachments button here. So I click on that. I see a list of attachments, which of course is empty right now. And I can add an attachment, for example, a death certificate. And I'm sure I don't need a death certificate for this particular document, but you get the idea, right? So this doesn't have to be a PDF document. I can use image files, for example. So for example, a driver license, which might not make any sense for this document either, but I have two attachments now. And now that I have all that, now I can finally place the stamp. So what I do is I hit plus or add a stamp, and I get a list of stamps that my user, that are available to my user that I'm logged in as. So in my case, I only have this one, and that's the typical use case. Maybe Andrew, if we have time later, you can explain a little bit about why that is. But very typically, you will have one stamp and one stamp only. So when I click on that, it jumps over onto the document, and here I can pick it up with my mouse and drag it to where I want it to appear, for example, right here. And if I'm happy with the location that it just went to, this is when I hit apply. And now the whole magic, I always call it, happens in the background. So a digital signature, as it's called, that's a technical term for it, is created. That's the very same thing DocuSign is using or Adobe. So it's an industry standard that we use here. And in addition, we place that visual imprint so that it looks familiar, that that's a very well-known image in this program. So that's what we do here. And now that this stamp is on, the document is rendered temper evident. So if you change the slightest bit in this document, most PDF viewers or even PDF editing tools won't even allow you to edit it because it's certified. I'm going to show you what that means. I can save this, let's say, into stamped folder. Well, yeah, I did this before, as you can see. If I open this document using just Adobe Reader, right here. So it's the same document, the stamp is on there. And when I click on it, I can look at the signature properties, and it tells me the document certification is valid, and it was signed by Keymark, and a lot of additional information here. If I now had changed this document in between, say it was damaged while it was sent somewhere, or a bad actor got in and changed $1 million to $10 million, well, then it would show a really big red X, and it would show you it's invalid, you can't use this document, and you would deny it. So this is what people can do who are not in the program. So if you, for example, sent that document back to the shareholder as well, even they could look at the document and see that it's that there's a digital medallion stamp on there, that it's still valid. And oh yeah, one more interesting thing. Remember the two attachments I just did for the demo earlier? This is just Adobe Reader, and if I click on the on that paperclip here, I see my two attachments. I might not have explained that well enough. The attachments are not just sent with the document if we send it out later. They are really embedded in the document itself. So all you need to share with whatever recipient you want to send it to, all they need is the PDF file, nothing else. There we go. Ron, your Otter AI thing is coming up again. Whatever. So this is the file as it looks like. You can, of course, choose to send that file also to a transfer agent or any recipient who is going to process it through any means of transportation that you feel comfortable with. Your organization might have secure email or any other way to exchange files, like a OneDrive or whatever it is. So that is an option. However, we also provide a way to forward this document to a recipient through a system that we don't directly offer, but we kind of are like a phone book. So I'll explain what that means. A recipient can choose, if they are in the program, they can choose to offer what we call inboxes. So say Computer Share could choose, I want a general inbox for all documents that people don't know where to put them, but I also want an ACAT inbox. I want an inbox for mutual funds, you name it. And then what they would do is they would set up, one of the flavors is an SFTP server on their end, and register the credentials to this SFTP server with Universal Stamp. And with that, they automatically show up in a directory that we see once we click here onto this Assign button. So when we click here, we see a list of organizations that already did choose to offer inboxes. One of them, of course, is our demo user here, or our demo account, our demo receiver. And we have a couple of different inboxes. For me, as a Guarantor user, I don't really care where that server is located, if it's even an SFTP server or just going out by email in the background. All I do is I select the inbox, and I do that by hovering over the inbox, in the recipient who set that up gave instructions. So it said, for example, this is the test inbox, and it could say something, please put all documents for whatever use case in here. So as a guarantor, all I need to do is choose a recipient and then hover over their inboxes just to see which one I'm supposed to use. And I'm going to use the general inbox now, and I'm going to hit Assign. So what's happening now, I have to confirm. What's happening now is that the document travels from this computer directly to the recipient's server. So we are not in the game. We're not ever seeing this document. We don't hold it. In our experience, the compliance teams love that. IT teams don't, because they have to set up the server, of course. So I get the confirmation that the file was placed in this inbox, and at this point, I am done as a guarantor. Ron likes,
Mario,
yeah. I was just gonna say.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ron likes if I explain what the store and archive button does.
Go ahead.
If you saw me saving the document earlier to a random folder, I can choose just any folder. But if your organization doesn't feel comfortable with it, or your controls wouldn't allow that, you can disable the save button and just leave the store and archive button on, and that can be configured to save the document to one particular folder, which is, for example, a network drive or something. So that's what this button does. Is that what you were?
No, Mario, I was just going to say, one of the new features in version 2.3, maybe that's worth mentioning, is that we can also digitally stamp an image file. So if somebody takes a photo,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It'll be converted to a PDF, maybe just mention that feature.
Absolutely. See, I can use an image file here. Well, not the driver license, but I'm not sure if I have any.
I'll just add, while you're pulling that up on the store and archive feature, that is something where, your IT and you would work together to sort of predetermine a landing place for these documents for document retention purposes. So this way, somebody puts a digital medallion on something, all they have to do is hit store and archive, and it's automatically routed to some server or folder of your choice, where you can sort of aggregate all of the medallions from all your different employees and say, okay, here are all the transactions we've done in one capacity or another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. Well, what you see on the screen here was me opening a PNG file, and it's converted to a letter size PDF file, and you can stamp it just the same way we just did before. Now, before I jump into the receiving part, I just want to show the demo, the administration part really quick. Just one of the features there.
So this is
log
now
in
the
as the same-
companion website, app.universalstamp.com, which is for the administrative users.
And now this user that I used obviously is an administrator, so I was able to log in. And the document we just did is not that one. Which one is it? This one? That should be, yeah, I think it's this one, right? So anyways, it's forwarded, and I see the status is empty right now. So nobody accepted or rejected the document yet. That's how I can tell the status. These down here, I see this document has been accepted already. The demo we did yesterday. Here's one that was declined, and here's another one that was accepted. So, of course, because we didn't do the receiving part yet, we don't see a status here. And now let's do that really quick. So I use the very same app. The only difference is I'm going to log in as a user that is with a receiving organization. And remember when I said earlier that a recipient can choose to offer inboxes? That's what this particular recipient did, our demo user or demo account. We have a couple of inboxes, and if you remember, I had this directory, and the first one I expanded had a couple of inboxes. That's exactly the inboxes that I'm seeing here as a recipient. And I'm looking into the general inbox, and the reason why I do this is that I got an email that says, hey, you just received there it is. You received a new document, and please check your inbox, general inbox, all right? And that's why I do that. So I click into the general inbox, and I see the document right up here. It's the newest one, so it's at the top. And now I can open it as a recipient and look at that. So it's a very straightforward process. It's seamless. They wouldn't have to receive an email, save it down to the file system, then open it again in some other program. It's right there, so we can look at it right here. And other than in Adobe, we don't click on the signature. We have a verify button up here. These two are the same. Save and store and archive is the same as for a Guarantor. So when they verify it, they get this nice little report that says the document's integrity is good, so it has not been altered after the stamp was applied. And then we see a list of stamps on the document. There could be multiple. So forgot to mention that earlier. There's a way to have multiple digital medallions on one document. Let me skip over these really quick. Go ahead.
The one thing on the multiple digital medallions, that doesn't mean that a firm with an E medallion that has a $100,000 limit is going to put it on 5 times and aggregate to 500,000. That medallion stacking is not allowed. What that means is if one firm needs to put a medallion on it, send it out to another firm that puts its medallion on it, that is possible now.
Yeah, here we see the two certificates that we had before. Certificates, reading certificate, the 2 attachments, and we can save those just as we did before with Adobe. We can detach or save them out of the PDF document. Here is a nice little audit trail. So we see that I entered the $1 million earlier. Then I placed the stamp, and then I placed the document into the general inbox of this particular organization. So now I have a couple of options here as a recipient. I can save this to my local computer or a network drive. I can contact the sender if something is missing. What that does is it's basically just copying the email address of the person who sent that to me into the clipboard, and then they can use their favorite email program just to reach out and request additional information or documents, whatever. And then, of course, the most important thing, reject or accept that document. That doesn't mean I'm accepting the transaction is good already, but it means the digital medallion is good, and that's what I'm accepting here. So when I hit that, there are a couple of things happening. First of all, if I did not save this, I can configure the system that automatically on accept the file is saved to a particular folder. So that's for automation reasons. If anyone is on the call today that is with a receiving organization, this is all totally easy to automate. So I'm going to hit accept here, and there are a couple of things happening. First of all, it tells me that the document was accepted. The next thing you see down here is an audit trail. That's the audit trail just grew by one line, and it says the document was accepted. In the background, there's an email sent out to the person who sent that document, and it says the document was accepted. If it was rejected, of course, that email would have a different verbiage, because when we reject documents, we can also specify a reason as to why we rejected it. And now, final step, this is a new feature that we just introduced with 2.3. If the document was opened from an inbox, which we did, we can now automatically delete it from there, because we don't need that on that sitting on that server anymore, because we typically saved the document somewhere else already. So I hit yes, and it's going to delete the file from general inbox. There we go. And that's about it. Ron, I think
Great.
you wanted me to also go in a little bit more into the web hub, or do you want to handle something else first?
No, I think you touched on the web hub, which is really just Mario. I mean, maybe if you just want to show users and stamps and
Yeah, absolutely.
Things
So-
like that.
So let's shift our focus back to guarantors. I am the admin of a guarantor organization. And when I'm logging into the that web hub, I see a couple of things, my latest transactions. I can also go into more transactions and then just try and locate transactions by date or by stamp class. I'm not going to do that right now because it's full of our tests. But also interesting, we have 6 active stamps and 3 active users, and we already did 681. Well, that's Ron and I doing demos for the past 2 years. So there we go. Active stamps, pretty cool. If you click on that, you see your stamps here, and whatever is red is deactivated. It's destroyed already. It's still in here, but it cannot be used anymore. This one, however, is still active. And if you choose to offboard an employee and destroy their stamp, you can do this right here. So this doesn't have to go through an order with Keymark. You just go in here, and then you would deactivate the user. Do that really quick. And then it's asking like, hey, there's this, do you really want to do this? And I'm not doing it. With that, at night, this is synchronized with Keymark's database. So of course, Keymark will be aware of this, of the destruction of the stamp, but you can do it immediately without having to order the destruction, so to speak. Did I phrase that right, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, basically, now you have the control kind of automatically here in the offboarding process for employees to destroy the person's account and associated medallion with a couple of clicks of the mouse here rather than filling out the form, sending it to us, having us do it, confirm it. Just like most things digital, I guess it's a shorter life cycle and gives you kind of the control to manage your user and medallion inventory directly.
And the same, of course, goes for users. So if I want to deactivate that user, yeah, okay, you cannot deactivate yourself. That's me. It's going to ask, like, see here in this column, it says there's 1 active stamp with this user. If this wasn't me, well, I can't deactivate. Yeah, I can maybe deactivate Ron. which I won't do, but it's going to say, do you want to deactivate, Ron? If I hit deactivate here, it says there are 2 stamps associated. Do you also want to deactivate those? So you're in full control of deactivating either just the stamps or the complete user account. If somebody leaves the organization, you would just deactivate them. And you see them coming up as red as well. That's kind of the encoding here in this app. Anything that's red has been deactivated. We never delete anything, but we can, of course, deactivate it. That's that. Anything else? Maybe the settings. So yeah, we talked about that local archive before. If you want to limit users to save documents only to a particular folder because they might be picked up by your document management system, or you have a dedicated archive folder on your network drive, you would put that in here, and that's going to activate the store and archive button. And you can take the save button out by disallowing it in the user settings. Anyway, so that's how that works. And then we have another thing where you can override. Usually when a guarantor sends a document to a recipient and they accept it, then that person gets an email that informs them that the document was accepted. However, you can also override that email address. In this case, if I put something like office@mybank.com, then the email that tells about the status, if it was accepted or rejected, would go to that particular email address instead. And then if you want to use username password like I did in the demo, there's a password policy that can be set up. Anyone with a very complex password policy is typically using single sign-on, because then they're in control of their password policy and everything. And last but not least is the API token. There is an API. If anyone from IT is on the call, we do offer an API that allows you to download metadata for documents, download user information. It's a REST API, download stamp information, all these things. You cannot do stamping, of course, because the document cannot travel to our server. It's by design. But the API is still powerful, so it can be used if anyone has an interest in that. Yeah, Ron, anything I forgot? I'm not sure. I think I covered it.
I think you touched on everything, Mario. It's any questions on the web hub, the administration portal there that Mario has on the screen, the app. Now's the time to ask. We have IT on the call. We have Keymark on the call. We have Hampton. So any questions at all, just let us know. And Kathy, I sent you an email to get that IT user. So just let me know those details and I'll take care of that. Any other questions? All right, everybody knows universal stamp. This is great.
The Adobe verification, you want to just talk about more, Ron?
Sure. Mario, you have a document saved somewhere?
Yeah. This one, the one we just did.
Okay.
So this would be if somebody were to email, if you put a medallion on this document as a guarantor firm and you email it or send it via SFTP or any other option, the firm can just open the document with Adobe, or is it Acrobat Reader now, and can click on the medallion. I'll let you take it away, but can verify.
Mario, can you maximize that window? Or it's gonna go wide?
Yeah, I don't think the.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
That's better.
It's a little better. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So you click the medallion there and then hit signature properties, I believe.
Correct, yes. And that shows you like the document is certified by Keymark Financial Services, time, USA Bank. So who was the guarantor, what stamp was used, and most importantly, it shows that the certification is valid. That means it has not been altered. And that's all you need to know about it. The document was good. This whole thing with digital medallion, digital signatures is always, it's a great indication that a document is in its original state. And with that, you can be sure that what you're visually inspecting is what the person saw who put the digital medallion on it. If it's broken, we don't know where it's broken or what happened, but it also doesn't matter because if it's not a valid document, you just disregard, you just deny it. That's how that works.
Mario, I'm going to send you a form that has somebody asked, can we show two medallions on one document? So let me just send you.
You can also share your screen if you prefer that.
Hang on. No, I don't have them on there. So, and I don't have my. So I just dropped it to you, Mario. So if
Okay.
you could use that app, I mean that document, and just stamp it using the app.
How did you send it to me? By chat?
Teams.
It's okay. So let's do the whole spiel again. Logging in as a guarantor. Stamp the document. It downloads. This one, right?
Yeah. Why did I send you a locked document?
No, it's good.
Yeah.
I just didn't enter the correct path.
Okay.
Yeah, so where do the
Page
stamps
2.
go? Page 2. Okay, so stamp it. And then apply.
And so basically, by putting the medallion there, that's related to, say, Jack's signature, and then the other box will be Jill's signature, I believe is the
Yeah.
idea.
I mean, in my case, I only have one stamp, so I'm just going to reuse the same again.
Mm-hmm.
But as Andrew had said, this is not now doubling the
coverage.
The coverage, yeah. So I apply that again. Now I want to save it to my stamped folder. And when I now log in as a transfer agent, and this is not the demo. Now I see document integrity is still good. I have two stamps on there, both on page 1. They're both within the same minute. Page 2, of course. But I see two lines in the audit trail as well. So I stamped it using that stamp, then I stamped it again, unfortunately in the same minute, so you can see that this was different. But as Andrew had said earlier, it could be somebody else placing a second one on there. And then, of course, you would see different times here, different stamp numbers. So I hope that kind of shows the idea.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Mario.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Don't see anything here, and I don't think we have anything else at the moment. Andrew?
No, not at all. Again, I think by virtue of receiving this meeting invite, you know where to find us, but let us know if you have any questions. I think the only other thing I'd mention is in the web hub on the left-hand side there, there's that section Need Help. And if you click into that, that is a great resource for videos about how to use the app, PDFs about how to use the app, the specs needed to download the app, that sort of thing. So certainly recommend that. And we at Keymark are adding to stampysource.com some additional training. So there are kind of numerous locations with different types of media to guide you through the process should you have any questions.
Great. And just to echo what Andrew just said, for every user, Mario, even if you just hit home on the app, that question mark for a user will need help, will take them to the same place that Andrew was just speaking about. So that will take them to the support page where the videos and the documentation is. Great. Well, we'll give you back about 15 minutes and we'll end early. And thank you very much for everyone attending. And as Andrew said, if you need anything, you know where to find us. Have a great rest of the day.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.